What was the detailed process for creating redlining maps? Imagine a time when maps didn't just show streets and parks but also decided who could buy a home and who couldn't. That's what happened with redlining maps in the 1930s. During the Great Depression, the government wanted to protect the housing market and prevent more foreclosures. The Homeowners Loan Corporation, a New Deal agency, was created to help homeowners refinance troubled mortgages. To do this, they needed to figure out which neighborhoods were safe bets for loans and which ones were risky. So they sent surveyors and appraisers to cities all over the United States. These teams went into neighborhoods and collected detailed info about the houses. They looked at the age of the buildings, how good or bad the condition was, and how many homes were occupied. They also gathered data about the people living there, including their race, ethnicity, income, and social background. A big part of their job was to identify what they called detrimental influences. This meant looking for signs that might lower property values. Unfortunately, this often involved racist language, like mentioning the presence or infiltration of Black residents or other minority groups. They also noted racial mixing as a negative factor. These descriptions were used to give neighborhoods lower ratings, which affected how banks viewed them. Based on all this information, the Homeowners Loan Corporation created what they called residential security maps. These maps covered nearly 250 cities. Each neighborhood was given a color-coded grade to show how risky it was to lend money there. The best neighborhoods, mostly white and wealthy, were marked with green and labeled A or best. Slightly less desirable areas, still stable but with some signs of decline, were marked B or still desirable. Neighborhoods showing signs of deterioration, often with some minority residents, were marked C or definitely declining. The worst areas, marked in red, were called hazardous and often had large Black or immigrant populations. These redlined areas were considered the highest risk for lenders. Lenders and the government used these maps to decide where to give mortgage loans. If a neighborhood was marked D or hazardous, banks would refuse to lend money or offer loans on very unfavorable terms. This practice became known as redlining because of the red color used on the maps. It meant that Black families and other minorities had a much harder time getting mortgage loans, which kept them from building wealth through homeownership. This system created lasting barriers that still influence housing and wealth disparities today. Understanding how these maps were made helps us see how government policies shaped racial segregation and economic inequality in housing.